All right, so this is the part in the create your own method where we talk about taking immediate action and the importance of doing so. Now, oddly enough, we're going to begin this one with another quote from Chuck Palahniuk in Fight Club. On a long enough timeline, the survival rate of everyone drops to zero. And the reason I bring this one up is because I think it's actually exactly the same when it comes to hooking up with girls. And in fact, it happens at a much, much more drastic pace. The longer it takes from meet to getting her in bed, the less likely it is to happen. So your odds of hooking up with any girl in particular exponentially decrease the longer it takes for you to make that happen. But that's not exactly what we're here to talk about. But let that thought kind of sink into the back of your brain as we talk about some other stuff. Now, with that in mind, when it came to creating my own personal style of seduction, I had one maxim that was playing in the back of my head. It was, if you want to get the girl, you need to sleep with her as quickly as possible. And there's a lot of reasons for this, and we'll get into that later because there's some more pressing things at hand right now. I want to talk about the power of taking immediate action. And if you were to ask me who would get it first, the guy who doesn't really know every little intricate detail about how to seduce women, he doesn't know all the fancy routines, doesn't know all the different escalation ladders, doesn't know all that stuff, but just starts approaching women, versus the guy who has studied everything. He knows every line in the book. He knows every fancy little method to get her turned on. He knows just all the different keynote touches, but doesn't really actually take action on it and start approaching girls. Who's going to get it first? It's the guy who's out there actually taking action. He's the giant sumo in this picture. So it's my charge to you to be the guy who maybe you don't understand every principle of how to get women into bed, but you are the person that goes out and takes what little you do know, or maybe you don't know anything at all, but you get out there and start interacting with women. My money is on you every time to be the kind of guy that is going to be able to finally get how to do this for yourself. Now, I kind of want to illustrate this by demonstrating my own personal struggles with poker. Now, poker is a game that I always use as metaphors for seduction because there are so many cross applications. But I fell into the same trap that a lot of guys do when it comes to meeting and seducing women when it came to me trying to learn how to play poker. I read every single book on the planet. Every book I could get my hands on poker strategy, on what to do in this situation, what cards to play in what position, when to raise, when to check, all of that kind of stuff. Funny thing is, I knew all the theory, I knew all the mathematical odds and outs and all of that, but I had never actually played an actual hand of poker for like 2 years. So you want to know what happened to me the first time I decided, okay, I read all the books, I know everything, it's all up in my head, everything, it's like a machine, it's like a computer here. I freaking stunk at poker. I got my ass handed to me so badly that it was ridiculous, and for a long time too. The thing is, just like seduction, poker is something that, sure, it's nice to learn all the stuff from the books, and they are definitely a great resource, but there is no substitute for actual experience playing hands with real live competitors. The same goes in seduction. There is no substitute for real interactions with real women. So I gotta ask you, do you have the same problem when it comes to seducing women? Are you just reading books and taking courses, or are you out there actually applying the information that you're learning in those books and courses that you're getting your hands on? Now, let me just throw this out there. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go out and get expert instruction from qualified sources. You should definitely do that. But what you're going to want to do is immediately implement all the new strategies. You don't need to wait until you finish the entire book or course to start taking action on that. Take the little bit that you have and get cracking with it. I want to talk a little bit about the biggest cock block out there. And every time I give a presentation, start asking people what the biggest cock block is, invariably people say, oh yeah, her war pig of a friend, that troll that's there saying we came together, we'll leave together. Some more enlightened people might say, yourself. you are your own biggest cock block. But really, when it comes down to the thing that is keeping you going home alone night after night, is quite simply one thing: it's time. Time is what is keeping you from getting laid. And I want to really dive into what that means. You can look at this on two different levels. You can look at this on a micro level, you can look at this on a macro level. On the micro level, spending your entire night talking to a bad prospect or bad prospects. That's you talking to a girl who couldn't go home with you even if she wanted to, or a girl who's just there to get free drinks. It's doing anything that's using that night. There's only a couple of hours a night that you can be meeting and seducing attractive women. I mean, even in places like Las Vegas where you never hear those dirty, filthy, disgusting words, last call, at 4 in the morning, it's still getting pretty slim pickings. So you need to be spending your time wisely. More instances of this could be relentlessly pursuing one girl that really isn't all that interesting. And I see this all the time. Guys will write into me and say, hey, there's this one girl that I've never talked to her before, but I really want her. Or I've been friends with this girl for 2 years. How do I take it sexual? And I'm thinking, you are spending all of your time on one girl who isn't interested, and that is just a complete colossal waste of time. It's cock blocking you. Really, when it comes down to it, it's any situation where you are misreading her intentions. Maybe she's there only because she wants some sort of status that you might provide her for the moment. She wants you to help her skip line or pay for her drinks or anything like that. All these micro things add up. But here's where it gets really pernicious, is on the macro level. Listen, guys, you only have a finite amount of days on this planet. You only have a certain amount of days before you're going to kick the bucket. And, not to be all morbid and whatnot, but that's going to happen. Even if we don't get morbid, do you really want to be that 7-year-old dude who's still trying to, go to the hot nightclub trying to pick up the 21-year-old girls? Sure, it's possible, but wouldn't it be better if you could get that taken care of now? How many of those days that you have left are you going to waste totally sucking with women? Or will you just get it handled now? Now, let's get back to that personal maxim that I had brought up earlier. Listen, if you're a really attractive girl, your entire existence is a never-ending buffet of cock. A hot girl never is running out of options. She's at least banging somebody, or there's somebody who's next in line who wants to. So you need to act fast. She has options. So what do you do with this? What are your options for dealing with the fact that she has options? One, you could create a presence that's so compelling that she can't wait to see you in the future. And a lot of the stuff that we're going to be getting into in these videos will help you to craft that kind of presence. But you could also just sweep her off her feet and into bed. What's more compelling than that? And the way I like to think of it is, women don't diddle themselves to the idea of, 3, 4, 5 dates, and then maybe we'll hold hands and then maybe we'll hook up. No, they go home and diddle themselves to the idea of hooking up really quickly. The guy who takes action, who is so in charge of his masculinity and his passion that, sometimes he just can't help himself, that he gets caught up in the moment of passion with a beautiful, sexy woman that is irresistible to him. Don't believe me? Go down to a Barnes & Nobles, if they still exist, or get on a Kindle and download yourself a romance novel. I'm not saying you have to read it, just kind of thumb through it. These are the kind of guys that are the romantic hero in all of these books. They're all almost nearly identical, and they're always some guy that it was able to seduce them really, really quickly. So I want you to make this realization. She's probably banging someone. Will that someone be you? The lesson for today's video is take action. And I mean take action now. You don't have to know every jot and tittle, I just said tittle, about seduction to start seeing results. Not only is it harder to get a woman into bed the longer you wait, but it's harder to master seduction the longer you put it off. Get out there tonight and start putting stuff into action, even if you don't know everything on how to make that seduction end in sex. All right, I'm Nick. Go out there and get some.